Ayo, Plaid Man here. I'm just hanging out and chilling and relaxing and thinking about the things and the stuff. God damn. Okay. That worked. Sorry, I had the heater on, I have the washer on, or the dryer, and I realized there was a bit too much noise right next to my head. Anyways, if I was professional, I'd edit that out or just start all over, but I'm not going to. Because I'm professional, but not that professional. I done thought about it, but I ain't gonna do it. That's what's gonna happen. Anyways, feel free to cancel me. It's fine for using an accent that sounds a certain way. You said it said that way. I did not. Yada, yada, yada. Today we are going to do another movie ramble. Because of things and stuff. So, the movie ramble of the day is going to be Idiocracy. A great movie. Like, just unequivocally a good movie, a great movie that everyone should watch. The simplicity of it is this. Perrin, chill out. Sorry, I gave my dog a wash, and I'm trying to have him stay inside because it's warm inside, so he can kind of dry off, but he wants to go outside. Anyways, so the short version of Idiocracy is, hey, we're in present time, and the military, as the military does, they invent this thing where you can freeze someone, okay? And they're like, we'll freeze for an hour, or not an hour, we'll freeze him for a year. It would be smart to freeze someone for an hour, by the way, but they don't do that. Anyways, to freeze someone for a year, and then we'll awaken them in this way. We can freeze important people and then unfreeze them later, and they can kind of still be useful. So, like, imagine if you took Einstein and you froze him in his prime, and then you brought him out and, like, hey, technology and stuff, yada, yada. There's lots of sci-fi references, but it doesn't really matter. So to do this, they hire a prostitute, and they take the most basic person that they have. So basically, they freeze two individuals who are, like, basic, okay? But shenanigans happen, and they are locked in their thing and hidden away for, I think it's a couple hundred years. And the future that ensues is rather ridiculous. In a good way. Like, in a good way, because of comedy. Like, the whole thing is supposed to be kind of tongue-in-cheek. Not a good way for humankind. Humankind does not look good per them in the future. But I think it makes... Oh, gosh. I am married. My ring is just over there. I'm sorry. I love you, Jessica. I am married. I just watched the dog, and so I took my ring off. Anyways. So, it's kind of interesting. You have this guy who's, like, the most average person in the military today, and then this woman who's a prostitute, which doesn't mean she's dumb or anything like that. It just means that she's a prostitute. And silliness ensues. And I saw it again. I've seen it several times, but I was talking to someone about it, and I was just like, yeah, no, this movie's amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then I saw it again, and I was like, okay, this movie's not amazing. It's not. It has a lot of fundamental issues. It's kind of silly and over the top, and I feel like the writer and the creator of it, I'm blanking on his name right now, didn't really know what he was doing. And by that I mean, like, he created a thing and he did an amazing job. And there's a whole backstory on, like, how difficult it was to make this and yada yada yada. What he did was amazing, and I would argue that the first half of the film, the kind of the build up and the setup of the world and all this stuff, is terrific and highly worth watching. Excuse me. The later half is... it's fine. It's good. It's just over the top ridiculous. Like, over the top. Like, you watch Team America World Police and you're like, oh, okay, this is ridiculous. But it all stayed within a certain realm. You see this other thing and it's like, okay, you're beyond the pale. Like, if he had kind of kept it real and funny, then great. But there are things throughout the movie that I feel like Well, that's just not doable at all. Like, you're just being ridiculous now. And your situation doesn't really make sense. But there is a fundamental thing that I really want to talk about that I think is the most important part of the story in general. So it's kind of like a ramble on two different things. Fundamentally, at the very beginning of the film, or, whatever, 15 minutes in, there's this really great, like, montage that kind of explains what happens to humankind, why it's so messed up 200, 300 years in the future. And you're like, why? Well, you have a couple who's, whatever. They're doing well for themselves. They're financially stable. And they keep saying, oh, yeah, the markets, or, oh, we're not ready, or, oh, this, the excuse. Then the husband dies. And then the wife's like, well, I've saved my eggs, so hopefully I'll find someone. And then she dies. Whereas reversely, on the other end of the spectrum, you have a guy who sleeps with a woman and then cheats on her, sleeps with someone else, and keeps impregnating different women. And then his offspring do the same thing. They just like keep propagating and having more and more kids. And what the movie was trying to illustrate, and I think they did a good job, I don't fundamentally agree, but the concept of, well, if dumb people, okay, or people who don't really care about the greater issues of the world and just kind of care about worldly things like drinking, alcohol, stuff like that, sex, those people are going to continue to propagate, have more babies, and then in the process of doing that, they will grow, whereas other people who are like more geared towards, okay, let's have kids when we're ready and do things just so, and yada yada, and we'll get married and yada yada, they'll have less or no kids. And that was kind of the point. There's a trope that science fiction likes to talk about a lot, where if you have dumb parents, what that will generate is dumb children, like intelligence is biological. And I disagree wholeheartedly. There's zero science to back that up. Sorry. Einstein's parents were not anything brilliant. And I'm not saying Einstein is like the marker, but everyone knows who Einstein is and considers him intelligent, and his parents are not notable at all, other than, oh, they're the parents of Einstein. So I don't really, I agree that the movie did this whole thing. I don't like the whole, like, it's a biological thing, but I do think that fundamentally what they're talking about is a problem, in that you have otherwise intelligent and able and smart individuals not having babies. And you have other people who might be capable in many ways, but frankly, they are just, let me just call it this way. You have simple people who don't really don't do a very good job of not having babies because they can't afford it. They'll just have babies. And so that phenomena actually happens right now. And it's a very interesting phenomena. And I've gone into this a lot. And Jill, if you're there, you're one of those people where it's just like, oh my God, you are two attractive individuals, two hyper capable individuals. Please have more babies. And I'm sorry, Joe, this is not an attack on you. But this is also true with other people. Like, I have other couples, friends of mine who, like, they don't have babies. And I'm like, what the F? And even myself, like, I can attack myself. My now wife and myself have been together for 5 years, and we don't have any children. We're in the process of getting started on that. And we were trying to wait till we got married, and that's a whole thing. So I guess, but that's really an excuse, because there are people who are not planning or whatever, and then they just sleep around and they have kids, and they tend to have a lot of kids. And I'm not opposed to there being more people and more children in the world. I think that's terrific. But I really wish people who had a broader mindset and a broader sense of like how to make the world a better place had more children. Simply put, because if, let's say, your perspective is 100% of this thing, like, oh, I think this and this and this, when you have children, that viewpoint will get diluted, at least a little bit, to your children. So effectively, your worldview, your ideas, your concepts are going to go into your kids, and they can take those and build off of them. And frankly, I look at that with my parents. Like, I love both of my parents. What their ideas and their thought processes are, I was raised on those, and I learned from that, and I want to improve on that. So frankly, I think more people should have more babies. That would be ideal. And in a weird way, I kind of feel like that's what Idiocracy was trying to tell us. They did it in kind of a weird way. And generally, I like the movie. I think everyone should watch it at least once. I think the first half of it is amazing. The second half is just kind of silliness. Not even really good silliness, just kind of silliness. And I'm not trying to knock it, because I actually really enjoyed it, and I think really highly of the movie. I just think that what they were saying, what the message of the movie was, actually an accident. I actually think he was trying for this other thing. And what I got out of it is like, no, more people need to have more babies. That's what we need to do. More people need to have more babies. So anyways, that's it for now. Plaid Man out. I love you all. Talk to you later. Bye.